Block Energy is Georgia's largest energy producer. Now, this is one company that has not been silent in 2023 as it keeps the drill bit turning in its Project One. I am delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive, Paul Haywood. So, Paul, let's go back to April, only a couple of months ago. Results of WRBO1ZA provide back-to-back drilling success. It's become a poster child for Project One. Now, this should be the focus of investor attention, according to me. But following an update about an amended loan agreement, there's chatter in the market that there's not enough money, there's going to be an imminent raise. Now, you could choose to ignore these rumours, but you've decided to meet these head on. So is there going to be a raise, Paul?
Sarah, thank you for having me once again. The short answer to that question is no. The loan agreement was put in place simply to prime the pump following what was a very successful result in the B1 sidetrack. That well performance from that particular well has, if you like, set a new standard in terms of overall production performance expected from the Project One development plan as outlined by the independent reserve report published last year, and of which was provided by ERCE. So in essence, you know, that project, following back-to-back drilling success, is now performing in line with the high case outlined with that CPR. And we had two options here, really. And these were the primary considerations behind taking in the shareholder loan. And that was sit, wait, allow our production and cash to build, and then get on with ordering long lead items and deferring out spud of the next well to a later date. And that's, you know, that's clearly not what we want to do. As you highlighted in your introduction, you know, accelerating activity with the drill bit is our primary focus. We got a production target that we want to hit by year end, and we got lots of plans that we'd like to achieve moving into 2024. And to do that, we need production, we need revenue, and we got to keep things moving. So the shareholder loan was simply put in place to prime the pump to allow us to achieve our short-term objectives for this year. To revert back to your original question, are we preparing for an equity raise? Absolutely not. Production, we've got record level productions as we speak today. Commodity prices are at a healthy level, of course, supported somewhat by the latest OPEC decision, and we're in a very, very good place. So the focus remains on keep that drill bit moving.
So I think it's worth reminding investors that you have put your own money into this loan. Now, I think this is twice that you've done this in the past year, popped in your own money. Are you confident you're going to get your money back?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's the primary reason for me participating in the shareholder loan was some of our existing shareholders asked a very legitimate question, and that is, yes, we'd like to support the plans of accelerating development of Project One. What are management doing to support plans outside, obviously, running the company and delivering on the plans? Key question there being, are the executives participating? And the response to that was yes, of course, which simply enabled us to fast track getting that shareholder loan closed. So hence the participation.
So you must be confident about where the business is heading. I mean, I've been speaking about Project One and the poster child well. So what is happening with Project One? Because Project One is just one of quite a few.
Yes, indeed. What is happening? So we've got 3 further wells that we want to drill this year as part of completion of phase 1 Project One plan. The team in parallel to executing the current plan that's been defined and is planned and ready to be executed. We're now working on phase 2 of Project One that would roll into operation Q1 next year. So once we get through the next 3 wells that have been fully risk ranked, planned, engineered, and are now, if you like, waiting in the wings to be executed, the team are now moving forward, looking forward into 2024 to ensure that we can keep that drill bit moving as part of the broader development of Project One. And in essence, the plan has been, the initial phase of that plan has been designed to ensure that we're able to achieve the highest impact possible on an overall reserves upgrade. So the final well in the program moves into an area within the field that would, in essence, on success, provide us with a significant uplift on overall reserves for Project One. So we're focused on building production, and we're focused on increasing reserves. So the plan has been tailored accordingly.
Okay, am I being a bit naive here? But if you're building production and there is production, why did you need to have a loan? Are you not sort of self-sustaining yet?
That's a very good question, Sarah. And in essence, it's the timing of our liftings. As and when we sell our crude, we've got to build, we've got to meet certain thresholds before we can process and sell our crude. Those thresholds don't always marry with the off-taker's timing in which it would like to acquire our crude. So there's a range of different variables that need to be considered as and when we do make our oil sales, and quite often they're not always aligned, which causes a further delay. And quite simply, with 60 to 90-day lead times on some of our key materials associated with drilling these wells, a small delay in either processing crude and or having our off-taker take our crude away and pay us for it can have a significant impact on our timelines. So, all things being equal and on balance, it made a lot of sense to take in that shareholder loan, keep the rig moving, keep the crew hot, and press on with the program.
So you slipped up there. You talked about a drill rig. So drill rigs, they're like gold dust at the moment. Does the company have its own drill rig, or are you reliant on a service provider?
Yeah, we've been out into the international markets to look at offers in purchasing our own rig, certainly as part of phase one of Project One, so moving into 2024. But as it stands, we bring a rig in from the local service provider on a lump sum basis, which is around typically ends up costing us around 30% of market rate. So it's efficient. We can swiftly get the rig mobilized onto location. In fact, the rig is within a couple of clicks of our next drill location, whilst the civil works drill pad is being completed. But moving into 2024, as we exceed our production target for this year, the plan is to go out into the market, get another rig in, which then opens a door for us to actually have two streams moving at the same time. So we could be drilling, wells in parallel as opposed to, sequentially as we have done in the past.
I've also been looking at your recent investor updates, and there's been lots of MOUs. A lot of people think, well, what's the point of a memorandum of understanding? Is it sort of just like a paper handshake, really? So what's the point of the MOUs, and who are they with, and why do they need to be done?
Yeah, well, in essence, the MOU sets, if you like, an understanding between two parties. So unless you've set that understanding, you could be having discussions until the cows come home, and be spinning your wheels and wasting your time. We're dealing with a government entity here, so there's procedures that are required to be adhered to enable progress. And in essence, those MOUs form an underlying understanding on what we hope to be a larger strategic play with the Georgian government.
So you talk about a larger strategic play. Is this dependent on you becoming a larger producing entity? Because at the moment we're still only talking about Project One. So there's 4 projects now, isn't there? There
is indeed. So we got Project Two, which is the deep redevelopment of the Samgori Patazuli field, which we believe offers around a couple of 100 million barrels of contingent resources. That's a big play. Project 3, which is of strategic importance and has been defined as a strategic asset to the country of Georgia, and that's a low Eocene gas play, which we believe to offer over a TCF of gas. First well was drilled by the previous asset owners, Schlumberger, which has been presented to the market prior, of course. And needless to say, given what's been, what is happening in the region currently, energy security and independence is of strategic interest to the government of Georgia. They've recently commissioned an underground gas storage project that sits in the heart of our core asset 11B, which sits contiguous to our Lower Eocene Project 3 gas development story. So needless to say, getting on with appraising that TCF of gas that sits within Block 11B or cross 11B into 11F is of significant importance to us as a company for obvious reasons, and certainly the government of Georgia. And therein lies the rationale behind drafting, agreeing terms to the MOU that was recently announced.
Which brings me on to where you're located, Georgia. Your neighbours are Armenia and Russia. Do you still feel secure? Is the business secure? Are you not tempted to look at other jurisdictions?
No, we are staying focused on Georgia. We'll allow our investors in the company and shareholders to hedge their geographical risk, but we are Georgian specific. We've got lots to play for here. And the stars now appear to be aligning, particularly off the back of the B1 success.
Okay, so I'm thinking that you want more drilling, more production, more high impact stuff, but of course investors can have the opportunity to ask you in person, because you've got an AGM coming up 20th of June. Is that closed doors, or can anybody come?
Absolutely not. Anybody would like to hear more about what we're doing in Georgia and get an up-to-date brief on current plans and progress, feel free to come along. It would be a pleasure to meet them.
Very good. And how likely is it that it will be expected that you have to put in more of your own money, or are you done with being in alignment with shareholders? You've got no more surplus cash to offer?
I'm certainly one of the largest stakeholders in this company, Sarah, so nobody wants to see this thing perform more than I. That's for sure. But based on current performance, asset performance and current plans, there's certainly no further interest in bringing in any additional capital at this time.
Many thanks. Paul Haywood, Chief Executive of Block Energy. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sarah. Pleasure speaking to you as always.